Hello YouTube and welcome to GrunfWorks. This is episode 14 of the Interplanetary Voyage of Exploration. And in this episode we will be making actually a launch of a small probe into a Kerbin orbit. In the previous episodes when I was launching the probes to the Kerbin orbit, I sent a ScanSat terrain mapping, but due to my own ignorance I did not send actually the science instrument that I wanted, which was the biome/anomaly scanner. And well, since I've been making progression in the airplane tech tree, I really wanted to actually deploy the anomaly scanner and also biome scanner, as those would be potential targets to visit with planes while we would be testing planes and before we transition to space planes. So that is why today we will be launching an ScanSat craft or ScanSat probe into the Kerbin orbit that would also dub as the biome/anomaly scanner. So nothing really strange with the design. I mean, you've seen me do this sort of design before. This is kind of will be similar, yet I will try to cram as much science as I can on top of it. So as you can see, this is just, the design that I've been fiddling with from the previous, since I was designing a cacti. Smaller engines on top of this gives pretty decent delta V with the thrust weight fairly decent. So the main now idea is to deploy multispectral sensor. As well, I'll see if there are any more interesting science experiments that I can deploy. I was briefly considering going with a bigger altimetry sensor, but since that one requires a much higher altitude, I've decided not to proceed with it. However, this one we have previously scrapped, so maybe we could use this one instead this time. So yeah, so maybe those two experiments together, and maybe put some few more stuff just in case they pop up. So I'm not sure exactly what this kinematic does, but yeah, no, just checking if there's anything else that we could cram in here. I am not really convinced. So yeah, let me see if there's anything else that merits putting there. And I'm not sure if there's any difference between this multispectral imaging platform and this other multispectral scanner, so I don't know, I'll probably just put both of them anyway. Reduce the battery amount a little bit, not to make our probe too big or too unwieldy. Also checking, I think there's something wrong with actually my fuse box. I don't think that it's working as it should, to be honest. So I'm not exactly sure. Doesn't matter. We'll just go with the gut on this one. So yeah, the batteries we have. Now we need the solar panels, I guess. And yeah, I'm thinking on going with a 1x6 and put them, 3 of them probably. Or no, 4 of them. Yeah, I think 4 of them would work nicely. So when this actually get deployed, sensors, when they get deployed, they would not interfere with each other, hopefully. And this moisture sensor is one big sensor, so yeah. Just now trying to line stuff so they don't collide with each other. Putting the communitron on top, folding this, and just, yeah, giving this a short look, see if there's any different reason for me why I could put these, for example, these two together with 4 of this, because I don't really need 2000 delta V. I mean, that's clearly an overkill on my part, so I mean, I do like over-engineering stuff as the next guy, but I mean, seriously, 2000 delta V. I mean, we're not sending the craft to Duna, for God's sake. I mean, we haven't even discovered Duna. Oops. But so, the ScanSat Biome Probe Mark 1. Nothing fishy with that. And let us first simulate the vessel. Just want to make sure that basically the vessel would work in around 250 kilometer orbit. I mean, yeah, polar orbit, but for testing purposes, we can live with equatorial orbit. It doesn't really matter. Okay. Loading, loading, loading. Okay. The simulation's up, and yeah. I need to revert to the editor because I goofed up. When you do the simulation, you actually need to do the stuff that you would have this antenna deployed. So now when I resimulate the vessel, I actually need to make sure that my remote tech antenna is actually unfolded. So, once again, loading. And now we're in Kerbin orbit. So, fuse box, yeah, well, you're complaining because I haven't deployed my solar panels yet, of course. So, doing that now. So, yeah, now we're generating like way more than we are spending. Okay, well, I was hoping for that. Okay, let us now kick off the sensors. Both of them say start multispectral scan, so I don't know whom to trust, honestly. This guy scans at altitude suboptimal. How come suboptimal? It's 250 degrees. It's 250. I mean, what the hell? And now we're deploying the soil moisture sensor. Ah, look at that. So nice. I mean, yeah, the fact that it's not pointing towards Kerbin is not concerning at me, not in the slightest, but I'm just thinking out loud. Okay, so now if we would be recording what this can set altitude is a little bit disconcerting, but okay. Timed periapsis and apoapsis 250 by 250. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. Okay, well, doesn't matter. Let's revert to the editor. I mean, it does work, so we'll figure out how it works eventually. Let's just continue with it. So, oh, we are almost like 10 minutes into the episode. So, let us kick off today's quiz. Remember, today you guys are actually competing for a Kerbal Space Program Steam gift. Now, that being said, the questions will be somewhat more difficult. The first one will be actually quite easy. The first question for today's quiz is, what is my favorite mod. And I'll even drop you a hint. Well, I have dedicated a whole YouTube series to it. So, what is my favorite mod for the Kerbal Space Program? Okay, and with that out of the way, let us focus on building. Now I'm trying the various parts just to see how they will fit delta V wise and thrust to weight wise. I'm trying to find some nice way to place. Okay, KW rocketry 2.17. Well, it's pretty beefy at takeoff. Sure, 5.2 delta V. Since we'll be launching in the polar orbit, I think that should be enough, but I prefer to be sure, so I think I'll just add a couple of SRBs. Yeah, let's see, 1.28, and then gives us 5.7, and so that means if I slap 2 solid rocket boosters, or maybe 4, so 154 at takeoff, gives us a total of 6 delta V, so let's see if we put 6 of them. 6,000 and 2.49 at takeoff. Well, yeah, sure. I mean, why not? Let's just thrust limit them a little bit. This will give us a little bit of extra burn time, but I want to make sure that I keep 1.9 thrust to weight. And I think that should be quite sufficient, and then I'm gonna put the fins in between them. More fins than needed, but yeah. That's the... and over-engineering is the Kerbal way, I guess. Yeah, but then again, do I really need them? That's actually a good question. Just putting the remote tech antenna, and let us recondition the launch pad and then build a ship. I decided in the end I don't think I need the fins, because the rocket will be stable at launch while still having the while we're burning with the SRBs, and then we use a gimbaled engine, so I think we should be more than fine. So okay, now we have our probe on the launch pad, and let us go for the launch. By the way, I really wanted to have a progression through the planes, and basically if you don't use Kerbin side, planes don't really have a function in the KSP, especially if you're not playing the contract. So that's why I decided, okay, let us first scan, find the anomalies, and then use the planes to actually get there. So right now I'm boosting towards the apoapsis, or to the orbit, and I'm ever so slightly, while still using the SRBs, I'm angling towards the north, which I'm kind of hoping after I ditch the SRBs that I would be able to tilt a little bit more. So decoupling, stage complete, and now I'm starting to go a little bit more aggressively toward. We should have more than enough delta V, 5.17, and the goal for today would be orbit of 250 kilometer roughly, polar orbit around Kerbin. So, while we are doing the burn, it is time for our second question. The second question will be actually quite tough. So, remember that we had the first manned craft that landed on another planetary body. The question is, how many parts did the first craft that landed on another planetary body in this series had at takeoff? So at the moment when it was taking off, how many parts did that craft have? Yeah, this is a little bit of a tougher question, but if you have watched the series, and I guess you can always find the information there. Okay. Our apoapsis is already above the atmosphere, and right now it is at 100. So time to ditch the fairing, extend the solar panels, extend the remote tech antenna. Oh, soil moisture scan. Cool. We can do some actual science. L-band microwave emissions indicate high levels of water. Well, cool. Nice. So, yeah, transmitted the data, 12 science added. Well, it's definitely not to throw away. I mean, why not? Now just making sure that I add a maneuver node that will hopefully help us circularize the orbit. And I'm making my apoapsis 100 and my apoapsis 250 roughly, while I'm making the periapsis at 100. So why not immediately burn for the desired orbit, I guess. So yeah, it takes 1450 meters per second delta V, which means that our craft has way more than enough. So, however, we were very close to the burn, and our estimated burn is quite big, so might as well actually perform the burn. This is such a nice picture. I really like how the Kerbal space program looks with all the mods installed and stuff. I haven't yet tried the atmospheric scatter, but I hear it's fantastic. So maybe in 1.0 when I will be playing, I will be actually trying it out. And we're almost there. 251. That's good in my book. So okay, and now at another apoapsis we want to make sure that we just raise our periapsis equally to the 250, I guess, and thus circularize the orbit. (100 meters per second delta V). Yeah, I guess this probe had enough to go to way past Kerbin. Oh well. Doesn't matter. I'm still learning. I'm by no means pro when it comes to the how much delta V is needed for what, so yeah. Okay, and we are now warping to maneuver node. It's basically one of the newer functionalities and one I'm still trying to get accustomed to. It's a very convenient functionality, however, it can get a little bit scary if you haven't used it before. Okay. Oh, and we're already at the 20-minute mark, so I guess it would be the question for time for the third question of our quiz. The question number 3 is, why did I almost scrap the manned mission to the moon? I think it was 1 or 2, I guess, episodes back. So, what was the reason that made me consider scrapping the mission to the moon? So, the lucky person who answers all 3 questions first in the YouTube comments of this video, assuming he has a Steam account, will be eligible for the Kerbal Space Program license. So, good luck, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing your comments, I guess. Okay, we are, I guess, at the desired orbit, more or less, just now tweaking a couple of other parameters. So I'm just now deploying the scanner, and now the altitude is ideal. Good, because that was the one headache that I was having. I really want this to do a proper multispectral scan, and I also decided to turn the sensor array towards the towards the Kerbin, just for aesthetic reasons, I guess. I just think it looks cool. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, so now we're just looking quickly at the planetary mapping, and it does report Scanset Biome Pro Mark 1 that it's actually doing the scan. Good. Big map, yeah, well, problem is I just don't have patience until it shows up. It does take a lot of while. So I guess it would be scanning. I just want to basically see that it is scanning the biome as it passes along. Let me just see. Yeah, it is reporting the scan of the biomes, as we can see in the tracks. So good. Let's close the map, and yeah, so I guess we can call this mission a success. We're actually coming towards the end of the episode. It was a shorter episode, but a very necessary one for our progression. I hope you liked the episode. If you like the episode, do like the episode. And for more KSP content, hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy a couple of last moments just of serenity above Kerbin as I rename the craft. And I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks again for watching. This is GrunfWorks, signing off.